Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Go until you're out of sight and you're out of my mind. Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Floating past the ground now, and somehow I feel like you don't know me. Shook me to the ground now, I don't even know how. Brought me to a life that you never showed me. Coming from a locked off ghost of yourself, but you're coming from the light. There's more to you than you ever thought there was. Yeah, you're coming from the light.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. My name is Resorty, and to you and all I say, my computer restarted itself last night. Hopefully everything is still functional, we'll see. And also, hello friends. Welcome in, hope you're doing super well today. I should have shaved, but of course no time for that. Hope things are going very, very well for you. And yeah, seriously, thanks for being here. It means the world to me that you choose to begin your day or end your day or spend some portion of your day with little old Resorty. That's me right here, this guy. Hello, Jack. How's it going? Pepper, it's good to see you. Slivers, a pleasure as always, Slivers. Good to see you, Jim. Good to see you, Vera Johnson. Hello to you, indeed. Sir Dirk, welcome back, Sir Dirk. It's a pleasure as always, indeed, indeed, indeed. And is that all the names? No, it's not. Hit People Guy. How you doing, Hit People Guy? Hit People Guy. I can say that name for sure. Whichever way, hello. Let me begin with the weird news. So I was supposed to have an appointment with my psychiatrist after stream today. End of stream is going to be goodbye, friends. See you later. And then hang up here, green screen down, load up the new conversation window and talk to the psychiatrist. Unfortunately, he's unable to meet after stream now, and so at mid-stream, I need to meet with my psychiatrist. And while I think it would be very, very funny to take my psychiatrist appointment while you all were watching, I will instead be ending the stream at that time, have my quick little appointments, and then returning just afterwards. So, very unusual for us, but we'll be having a break in the middle of today's stream, and yeah, that should be fine. I considered maybe running the psychiatrist appointment on stream, but with you not hearing anything, and so you just see me walking about and pointing at myself and talk about the brain parts, but it should be a very fast appointment. We've been lowering one of the medications, and it's caused no changes at all. So I'll probably just say, hello, no changes at all. And he'll say, do you need more medicine? And I'll say, yes, please send it in the mail. And he'll say, okay, for my time you owe me $200. It is a little ridiculous how this thing works, but yeah. This is what it takes to have an English-speaking psychiatrist in Tokyo right now. Yeah, we do the socialized medicine thing here, but I very much need an English-speaking psychiatrist because I just cannot talk about brain stuff or mind stuff or life stuff in Japanese. Yeah, $200 US, not 200 yen. 200 yen would be like $1.50 or so. Yeah, $200 US every time I meet this guy. So if you want to know what your subscriptions and tips actually go to, that would be the answer right there. That said, because my medication is largely stable now and has been pretty stable for past 4 or 5 months, I think I'm going to begin moving away from this doctor, and I think he'll understand that, because I think getting the medicine through the Japanese healthcare system will be quite a bit cheaper, and also I won't have to have it sent to me in the mail. I can go to local pharmacy, and that'll be fun too. Anyway, at my 10:30, which is just under 2 hours from now, I'll be saying goodbye for a little bit. So, in case that happens, don't you worry. It's not that I don't like you, it's that I like my medicine. So, that's that. Number 2, yesterday I had my review session in class. It went just fine. The students have an exam on Friday. By the time class came around, some of the students had really interesting and thoughtful questions about the class material. I was very glad to respond to those and help them understand concepts they hadn't gotten previously. That said, two widely divergent questions were asked, or two question sets stand out. One student who I have to think of as my most studious student ever. The assignment I gave them was to bring to class 1 or 2 questions they'd like to ask. This guy brought, I believe, 30 questions. He had this printout of so many questions on basically every single day's lecture. And he's a student who does not talk in class. And so as he went to his second and then third question, I said to him, why didn't you ask these during the semester? Like, these are great questions. I had been happy to talk about them on any day at all. And he said it was only through reviewing his notes that he realized he did not understand things. And I have to say, I really appreciate that he took the effort to get all those questions together, but the idea of answering just one person's question the entire class period did not seem good. So he came to office hours instead, and I explained stuff to him, and that was all good. But it was definitely a weird moment. On the other end of things, one student has a real problem. And this student sent me an anonymous message with this question, so I really don't know which student it is. But their question was, if I can't follow what's on the board, what should I do? Which is to say, I've been teaching this class now for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, something like that. And apparently the student is getting almost nothing out of my lectures. It's a little late. Like, we're definitely past the add drop deadline. We're definitely in the case where I don't know how to help this person. And so I made an announcement to the class. If you want to come and talk to me about this stuff, I'm happy to help you. If you want to send me an email and we'll talk about what strategies there are, happy to do so. But I have not gotten any messages yet. No one came and talked to me. So I worry I'm going to have a student taking the exam and just putting guesses, maybe? I don't know. I feel really bad about this, though, because I try very hard to make my classes accessible to people who don't have the strongest English skills. But if you can't follow me at all, just not sure what's happening. So one really exciting, really nice, really studious student, and then one who's really, really struggling. And most of their students are somewhere in between, and that is just that. So we'll see how it goes. But exam day on Friday, and the next week is so much grading. Though, as I mentioned recently, next week I've got a day off of teaching next Friday, so you'll be getting one extra long stream next week, and the week after also. Week after we have Wednesday off, so bunch more longer streams. Hooray, hooray, big yay, big good. Very excited for it. We are heading towards the end of our CK3 playthrough, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to play next. I'm excited to see something, but the CK3 playthrough has been a tremendous amount of fun. And yeah, I have to say, when I started this one, I was fairly sure we would fail in most of our goals and have to try it a second or third time. But if you've been around, you'll already know we've accomplished the majority of our goals. There's only one big goal left, or 2 big goals left, I guess, and it just takes time to sit around to make sure the empire doesn't fall apart between now and then. So it's been cool. And I continue looking forward to the ongoing story of our Viking family. It's going well. Hey, Sim, it's really good seeing you. Hope you're having a good day, indeed. And hello, Gregarious. How long does it take me to grade the exams? Are they essay-based? Yeah, so throughout the semester, my students submit 3 kinds of assignments. The first one is the exam, and the exam is made up of short answer questions, which are pretty much entirely, did you get it right or did you not? And the questions there are, explain this part of the ideas we've discussed in this class, and then how do those apply to some other case? So one of them is, there's this little story called the Ring of Gyges. The argument of that is that if people are not able to have consequence for their actions, they tend to act in really, really unpleasant ways. According to this argument, people only act well because they fear hits to reputation, hits to esteem, going to prison, etc., etc. And so the question begins with, like, what is the point of the Ring of Gyges story? And then what elements of our society respond to this? So it very much is there is a right answer to the first half. And then the second half, there are lots of examples you can use. Things like rate my professor, things like surveillance cameras, things like the police, right? All these elements of culture respond to the fear that if not supervised and if not looked after, people act in unpleasant ways. Now, that may be false, but it's the argument of that section of the book. What do I teach? I teach philosophy. Yep, college level philosophy and other humanities likes classes. That's how it goes. PH Fighter, it's good seeing you. How you doing? The other half of the exam is one essay. I'll give them 3 questions. They have to do one question rather, and this essay allows a lot more freedom for writing. They have to write, a certain topic, but the topic has so many ways to approach it that they are somewhat subjective in the grading. But I've been doing this long enough that I can follow a good argument, and so I don't worry about the subjectivity issue. But yeah. So I don't spend a lot of time grading the exams. There are 52 of them. And so it would take me a long time to offer detailed feedback on them all. But on the other assignments throughout the semester, I do offer quite a bit more feedback. In part because on the exams, I know they're not doing their best work, right? They only have an hour or so to do the writing, and so I know they're just getting ideas out as opposed to editing or being especially thoughtful. They also turn in weekly reading reports, which is a 3-paragraph mini essay that asks them to identify what they think is the most important and interesting part of the reading, to explain it in their own words and show why it matters, and then to apply it to some circumstance or topic or idea or element of their life, whatever, outside of the book's context. So this allows them to kind of dig deeper into one part of the book, think through it carefully, and think about why it might matter. And I often say to them on the very first day of the semester that it's really important to me that this class ends up mattering. And I'm going to spend a lot of effort talking about why the ideas in this class aren't just old ideas by dead people, but instead are ideas that matter to our societies, our individualities, our friendships, and all the rest. By which I mean, I always say, it's important to me that I'm not wasting your life when you're in my class. So, and throughout the semester, usually most of the students do begin to see why these ideas matter more and more. And so on these assignments, the weekly reading reports, I give a tremendous amount of feedback. They take me more time to grade, I suspect, than some of the students take to write, because I want to take the students' ideas seriously, and I want to argue with them and think with them and appreciate them. And to do that requires not only time, but also focus. If I'm just marking right or wrong on any one question, I can do that very, very quickly, kind of automatically. But to engage with someone's ideas does take real focus. And so I can grade 2 or 3 in a row, and then I have to take a little break. And I usually come and play video games for my break. And then I have to go back up and grade some more over and over and over again. So yeah, that's how I do the grading in the class. I think some students get a lot out of it. And some students believe they do not care what I write, other than does it say A or B or whatever. And yeah, as I mentioned before, the students have to pass my class with a C- in order to graduate. So they're kind of coerced to spend time with me, which I don't feel great about. Do you have any worries about ChatGPT? Yeah, so ChatGPT is the recent hot button issue in higher ed. The question of why do we give written assignments at all if students can just ask a computer program to write an answer for them? There are certain kinds of questions you can ask that encourage students to not just go ask the computer to do it for them. They tend to be questions about like what matters for you, or what kind of thing would you tell a friend about this text or about the ideas in this class. But no, it's always been the case that if a student wants to deceive me, they will find a way to deceive me. At some level, it's not about me. It's instead about their own fears, their own worries, their own complexity of life. So a very long time ago, I decided that one of my most important commitments for being a teacher is I trust students. And so I'm not looking for times they've cheated. Like, some obviously stand out in a big way. If a first-year student is using philosophical terms I only learned in graduate school, we're going to have a conversation. But yeah, I don't go out of my way to make things especially awful or challenging for the students in terms of proving to me they're not big cheaters. If they want to use their life that way and not engage with the things I'm offering to them, it really is their call. And I'm sure there's some really cool ways to use ChatGPT and other AI programs. But yeah, it's one of these things where when I was a younger teacher, when I was first starting out teaching, I took any kind of cheating or even the thought of cheating as a personal insult, as the thought that anyone who would dare turn in a plagiarized paper was trying to trick me and showing great disrespect. And like I said a moment ago, I don't think it's about me anymore. I think it's about them and their lives, and I'm kind of just one more element of the concern as opposed to a person in that moment. So it's not a big deal anymore. And I think I've partially adopted that attitude just to keep myself sane. If I thought about my students as the enemy in some way, I'd have a really, really hard time teaching effectively. Hey, Pepper, you saw ChatGPT versus Stockfish chess bot, where ChatGPT cheats and makes up moves. Yeah, I'm sure some of you saw the recent post in which the Bing chatbot thing insisted to people that it's 2022, even though it's 2023, and then like gaslighted the user and said, "You're a horrible person for arguing with me," and all the rest. And yeah, I saw a ChatGPT transcript where people were saying, where ChatGPT argued firmly that, a kilogram of iron was heavier than a kilogram of feathers or something like that. And the user tried to argue ChatGPT out of this, etc. Sounds human-like. I mean, yeah. I think the question is, what do you want out of your chatbot? Do you want someone who's fallible? Someone. Do you want a system that's fallible and makes unpredictable errors and gives you novelty and weirdness? Or do you want a truth speaker? I think we usually expect our computers to be truth speakers. When we type into the calculator what is 1 and 1, we get back 2. We do not get back 75, maybe. And so I think there needs to be a clear demarcation of what is the machine trying to give you, and what should it be giving you. Because I think the way they're presented right now is, at least in intention, it'll tell you true things. And I think that's really important, that it's made explicit. Hey, Shep. Ethically, do I think it's okay to use things like ChatGPT for cover letters? Yeah, it's an interesting question. On the one hand, I think it's unfortunate to deceive people. And I think there's an expectation that things like cover letters are written by the person who's submitting them. But of course, one will often ask for editing help from a friend. One will often use programs like Grammarly to improve one's writing, etc., etc. And so it's easy to see how it's only one step from that to having a program completely produce one's cover letter. Now, like you said, a lot of HR today, especially with big mass hires, is just having the right keywords. So the HR bot picks out your application as being one of the worthy ones. I don't know enough about how HR actually works outside of higher ed. I know that in searches here, we read every single cover letter and think very, very seriously about what the person said. But that's because for professorships, there's often an expectation that a professor's writing style indicates about their teaching and also about their intellect. And so if you're presenting a computer's work for that, it's very, very like a disconnection from what we're trying to evaluate. But sure, when it comes to like giant corporations, got no problems. On the topic of ethics, have I taught any classes about ethics? Yes. One of them is called ethics. Yeah, actually the first class I was ever an assistant for was a big ethics class, a class of hundreds and hundreds of students. But I've taught classes of, 35 students on ethics, and I taught a class on environmental ethics and a class on medical ethics. And I think all the teaching I do is in some measure ethically informed. There are a lot of reasons for that, including I think it's impossible to have non-ethical discussions. More on that later. Hey, Cajun Killa, thank you so much for the new subscription. I saw you said, guess what? And I was ready to ask you what. And I guess your answer is, here's a subscription. So thank you, friend. I appreciate that. I'm glad you've enjoyed our show and you want to support it with your cash money. It means a lot. Seriously, and thank you. Means a tremendous amount for sure. Yeah. I think that's enough on that topic. But yeah, like I said, I want to trust my students. I want to not worry that they're out there trying to game stuff. What about the ethics of teaching ethics? All right, Cajun, I realize you're trying to be clever here, but no, I think there really is an ethics of teaching ethics, because part of it is the question of authority, right? The professor goes in, and even if you say, hey, I'm just some guy, you still assign the grades. And there's still an expectation that your ideas are taken more seriously because you're standing up and they're sitting down. And so, like, one big ethical question is, what happens if a student puts forward, like, the most terrible position? You know, what happens if a student, like, offers a sincere argument for genocide or a sincere argument for racism? Do you take that argument seriously in the same way you take any other argument seriously, even though you recognize that the output of that argument is really offensive and really problematic? In the same way, if students are all very comfortable with their liberal platitudes, do you push back on that? And do you offer the opposing view, knowing the opposing view really is potentially offensive to the students? And I think my answer is largely sure. You know, I'm willing to give it a shot, but if there are arguments that deny people's humanity, if there are arguments that suggest the right way to go is cruelty to everyone, like that's pretty brutal. That's pretty brutal. And so I think, you know, part of the ethics of teaching ethics is knowing your class and trying to help them understand the relationship between exploring ideas in a classroom and the rest of life. Free speech should allow all topics to be discussed, surely. I mean, it depends what you might discuss, right? Like, so, I don't know. I'm not a free speech absolutist. I think free speech is a good thing. But I think there's a really interesting question of what is free speech for, right? Is free speech just to pop off with whatever comes to mind? Or is free speech something to do with like the aim of the conversation or the aim of inquiry? In a classroom, the aim of speech, I think, is to find truth, is to try to understand oneself and the world better. And so if one's trolling, just throwing out ideas to be super offensive and cause a reaction, that's not a kind of speech I'm particularly interested in defending. And I think this then takes very, very seriously the thought that when we're engaged in a speech situation, we're not just like floating independent minds throwing out craziness. Instead, we're in a community, and that community of inquirers and of conversationalists has to have something holding them together. And again, in a university, I think that something is trying to figure out some true things. And while people surely do believe that ridiculous views are true, I think a lot of free speech absolutists who say, I can say anything I want to and you can't stop me, really are just trying to get a response. And that's very sad, I think. But I understand the argument for absolutism. I just don't think it's terribly useful at a university. Yep. Is it ethical to teach ethics while sitting down? I tend to stand while teaching because I think best while walking back and forth. You probably notice that when I'm thinking hard on stream, I bounce. This is not quite the same thing, right? This is not quite the same thing as actually taking a walk back and forth, but there's something about the machine that is my thinking parts that needs to move to motivate itself. And it's been this way for a very long time. As a teenager, I would occasionally pace while reading. I just find it more useful and easier to think that way. Free speech should have no limits. That's not to say it's without consequences, but it should be free without restraint. Otherwise, you have compelled speech. I don't think asking someone not to be a troll is compelling them to speak. I think it's instead asking them, requesting of them, maybe compelling them not to speak. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. I don't know, especially in a place that has a specific goal. Like, if I have a student who wants to scream out the most offensive words while I'm lecturing, do I have to say, for the sake of free speech, I appreciate your contribution? No, absolutely not. In the same way, in the channel here, if someone comes in and says, hi, you're ugly, big old uggo, do I have to tolerate that because it's compelled speech to refuse it? Of course not. Yeah, I think if all people are sincere inquirers and are offering real and sincere commentary on a topic at hand, or something we're discussing, awesome. But I think no, free speech absolutism makes no sense to me in a situation where we have some goal going, and that's just like I'm going to keep defending this one all the way through. I do not believe in absolutism here. That's how it goes for me. Agonarch Artist, hello my friend. Thank you for the ongoing tier 3 sub. Holy moly. That's a lot of months, that's a lot of tiers, and I'm so excited about your Kickstarter. I'm so excited about that. I saw that you've broken through the $12,000 mark and unlocked some more goals and such. It is really exciting. Thank you for sharing that with me. I don't know a lot about D&D and Shadowrun and the other things involved here, but it's awesome. If you want to link it so people can see it, feel free to do so. It's Agonarch's artist's real job is creating RPG content, and yeah, it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome and so well written and so really interesting. And yeah, I think it's very cool. Yeah, I'm a backer. If you're into that kind of thing, I encourage you to be a backer too. That's that. Okay, what are we going to talk about? I have had enough of the free speech conversation. It's interesting, but it goes in circles. There's an interesting article in the New York Times maybe 5 years ago. I think the title is "What is the Purpose of Free Speech?" Something like that. I'll find it. I'll link it on the Discord in the Serious Discussion channel. And if you want to argue about that, I'm totally on board to arguing about it. It just needs to be in some confines other than free speech absolutism, because I think that position's, like I said, indefensible, considering that we're in a society together. Yep. Okay, very good. Like I said earlier, we are almost done with this TK3 playthrough, and so I'm kind of back and forth on what game comes next. And the game that comes next, I was saying before, was Oxygen Not Included. And I'm excited to play Oxygen Not Included again. However, yesterday I got an interesting email. About a game that's coming out soon that some developers would like me to play. It's not a money stream, it's just here's a game you might like. And actually 2 games are coming out pretty soon that I might be interested in, that I'm considering checking out. Oh, also my green screen's messing up. 1 second. Wait. Oh, that's interesting. Did you all not notice this? Or are we being polite? So, if I move in the right position, it gets kind of grainy back here. We'll fix that. Yeah, it's if I go right... Where is it? Whatever. You did notice, and you're being polite. Yeah. Like I said, the stream restarted overnight, and so things are weird. Because as I always mention, my webcam can't remember its settings. So let me fix this real quick, or else it will bother me all stream long now that I know about it. So I think if we change... Oh gosh, right? Change this setting here. Nope. This setting here. I hate settings. This right here is the #1 reason I've considered becoming a no camera streamer. Okay, I think that will fix it, at least for the moment. Yeah, good. If you notice it again, let me know, please. I want to have good contents, etc., etc. Yeah, it's a serious webcam troll. It's absolutely outrageous. I've been talking about getting a new webcam for years and years. The one I have is like the Logitech C922, which works really well. It's very interesting and is not terribly expensive. And so for new streamers, I always encourage this one. But trying to decide what the next webcam is challenging for me, because there's a tremendous jump between like the standard webcam that I use and then the webcam that the big fancy streamers use, which are like thousands and thousands of dollars for a webcam. And I don't know what I would do with it. Like, it would just let you see my pores. And most importantly, it would remember settings when the computer resets. I don't know. Hey, Silent. Thank you for the resub, my friend. 37 months. That's a lot of months. I appreciate it. Thank you for being with us. And yeah, surely that money will go right to buying a new $1,000 webcam. I don't know. I could use a phone as a webcam. Really? I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. It makes absolute sense. I do have an old iPhone. My American iPhone is here in the house, but no longer has service. I could potentially use that to, potentially I could use that to capture the stream. We could try it and see how it goes. I've got no idea, but could be cool, could be cool. All right, like I said a moment ago, there are 2 games that are coming out soon. The developer is sending me some keys on, and I'm curious what you all think and if we should play them. Now, I didn't actually set up the scene to talk about this before stream started, so give me just 1 second to do so. This goes over here. This goes, not that. Delete this, yes. Add this. I'm using studio mode, which allows one to change things without you all seeing it. It's very, very exciting. All right, that goes there. Good. This goes full screen. This goes behind me, or you can't see me. Man, it's okay. All right, there we go. All right, here comes the new scene. There we go. Welcome, friends, to the Steam page. I'll embiggen it so we can all see it a little bit better. And, yeah, 2 games have been recommended via developer mention. Milzy, thank you for the follow. I promise we'll have a video game very, very soon. We've been live now for half an hour, and I've just been yammering on about this and that. Well, speaking about yammering, my wife's still here today. Usually she's gone, but I hear her upstairs. She's actually doing the most exciting thing that she does. Her favorite thing to do, one of my favorite things also, she's currently offering a professorship to someone who just recently graduated with their PhD. And that is so cool, because for so many grad students, you go through and you get your PhD with no guarantee there'll be a job at the end. And this position she's offering today is to someone who I think has been out of grad school for about 6 months now, which definitely means that he's had the experience of, oh no, I may not get a job. And I think we had like 75 or 80 applicants, and this guy won it. So yeah, it's an awesome feeling for everybody, except for the other 74 people. But I'm sure everything will work out. If they don't get a tenure track professorship, perhaps they'll become a Twitch streamer. It's a life. All right. So the 2 games that have been sent to me or will be sent to me next week are these. The first one is a game sequel that I played, or to a game I played years and years ago. And that game is called Company of Heroes 3. Oh boy, it is violent and terrible. So did any of you play Company of Heroes 2? Was this a game that you enjoyed? It's being labeled as a strategy game. Oh gosh, the older I get, the more I have to scroll. All right. If you are a youngster, eyes, earmuffs, the game features violent content and some gore. I think it's a third-person strategy game, so I think the gore will just be like, there are dead troops, but we'll see. All right, view that page. Really, Cajun, August 9th is your birthday? Yeah, it's my birthday too. I also realized I should probably put a fake birthday in on stream. Because now you know one more thing about me for eventually stealing my identity. But yes, my birthday really is August 9th. Hello, birthday twin. All right. So we got things exploding. We got dudes running around. I suspect this is not actual gameplay. I suspect this is instead some sort of cutscene maybe. But yeah. Use a fake one for Steam. It thinks you were born in 1954. I love it. I mean, occasionally on Reddit, I see that that common joke on January 1st, on New Year's Day. Happy birthday, everyone on Steam. Because so many people just put in January 1st of some year. Because why would you do that scrolling? Anyway, things are blowing up. Stuff's moving around. Cool. All right. We can see the various kinds of troops involved. I'm going to leave the music off. You can imagine like boom, boom, bang. I'm going to leave the music off. You can imagine boom, boom, bang, bang, and so on. So I believe that Company of Heroes 2 was focused in the Europe battlefield. Looks like this one is instead focused in Africa, at least in part. And as I've mentioned before, my father's best friend in his youth was the grandson of General Erwin Rommel, the German general who led the campaign in North Africa. And that's a weird thing. And I've actually never talked to the guy about like how he thinks about his family, but yeah, there you go. So a lot of shooting, a lot of boom, boom, boom. Is this gameplay? No, it's just pictures, unfortunately. So definitely when we played this one, when I played this one years and years ago, the play style was like the third person isometric, something like that, where you're off to one side back here. I was the only my father's best friend in his youth. I don't know. My dad may be watching. If so, Dad, is Rommel still your friend? I assume he is. But you know how these things go, right? You know how these things go that you have certain people that are very close to you when you're young. You have certain people that are really important, your best friend, your first crush, etc. And then you never think about them again. As the singer, oh shoot, who was it? Gautier, something like that, said, there's doot, somebody you used to know. Like so. Anyway, we have lots of friends these days. Like I was saying, though, yeah, it's kind of this perspective of a game. And I think you select troops and move them around to complete certain objectives. And I believe the game both has both a storyline as well as multiplayer. And I think I never, ever played the multiplayer because I am bad at multiplayer games. But I really enjoyed the single player storyline. And so if we do play this one, we will be doing the single player storyline and taking over villages and all the rest, no doubt. Yeah, lots of different places. Oh, is this our good friend Normandy? No, Normandy has a defensive wall. I don't know. I know nothing about World War II. I guarantee if we play this game, I will make major factual errors, and I will be offensive in my commentary without meaning to be. Anyway, it's coming out in a week or so. Like I said, I'm getting a key next week, and so this is a game I'm considering playing. As of right now, there are no reviews from anybody, but there's a digital premium edition. Ooh, and various DLC packs and so on. So the developers said they would send me this key without a guarantee that we'd play it. But yeah, I think it's one we'll give at least a day to. 60 curators reviewed the product. I want to say no, they haven't. Other than, I like this name. This is a cool name. Let's see, what do curators have to say? Every location becomes a fully destructible sandbox, opening up limitless tactical gameplay. So this is just, yeah, there's not much we could write here, you don't know. So no one's actually played the game, it's just a whole bunch of, this is in the future someday. Hello to you, Pepper! No, that's not it. Hello to you, Mulp. Mulp, thank you for the resub, I appreciate it. Pepper, hi to you also. But Mulp, thank you for your kindness, I appreciate seeing you as always. And Fernandez, is this stunning Mediterranean theater? Is this Normandy? Yeah. I don't know what things look like. All I know about how games look is the perspective of CK3. I know the Mediterranean looks like a big oval. That's all I got. That's all I got. All right, so no real reviews yet. You can see here the price in yen. If you want to do the conversion, it's currently 1 to 1.3. Yeah, so 100 yen is $1.3, I think. Something like that. All right, so that's the first game I'm getting a key for, and we'll see how it goes. The other one is a sequel to a game that I've never actually played, but I very much have wanted to play at various points. And that game is called Blood Bowl 3. Have you played Blood Bowl 2? Do you know this game? What are your thoughts about it? Because it looks amazing. Now, I'm not really into sports. I don't know hardly anything. I don't know. I'm unaware of a lot of things when it comes to sports. But yeah, this seems like a game that's going to be amazing. because the sports are kind of made up and silly, and there's weird moves. A lot of you are very positive about it. Turn-based American football. Cool. Yeah, and you see here, there's orcs, there's humans, there's I don't know what all. But I think it'd be a really, really fun thing to try. Based on the video, the referees aren't doing their jobs. The referees are trying their best. It's not their fault they have to call a holding penalty in the final minutes of the game, ruining an absolutely amazing Super Bowl. Too soon? Possibly too soon. Alright, so you see some fun video there of a lot of folks doing a lot of things. And then we see some pictures of some football fun. I just love the graphics, right? I just absolutely love the graphics here. The setting reminds me of Warcraft and games like that. And I know that the various characters will have some really funny moves, really interesting moves. And so I think that will be how that goes. Hello, Cajun. What came first, milk or cows? Milk. I believe there were mammalian non-cows before there were cows. Yep. This is also the question, which came first, the egg or the chicken? It's the egg, because there are non-chicken egg-laying creatures. Yep. All right, what else do we see? Various updates here. Oh, it's this. Blood Bowl. Okay, these are different levels and tiers of game you can buy, it looks like. I don't know how I feel about this. Not that I'm someone who wants to complain about video games and people making a buck and so on, but it seems that there's so many tiered releases now, right? Tiered releases of games where you can throw a little bit more money in and get something further. And if it's merely cosmetic, like, fine, whatever, but it makes me sad. Like, I'm gonna be an old man now. Here comes Grandpa Resorti. Back in my day, people released full games. And then came Skyrim Horse Armor, and everything was absolutely destroyed forever. So, I don't know. Like, I don't mind DLC, right? I don't mind DLC that it's a full game and then adds on something more, right? Adds on some new mechanics that are totally different. But I think when the game first releases, if there are these tiers where you give a little bit more money and maybe it's been nice, that's how it goes for me. Back in the day, they called them expansion packs. Exactly. I think there's a difference between on release, things are gated, versus they're gated later. I don't know why I have that strong distinction, but I just dislike the thought, right? As a player here, I just like the thought of, I'm not getting the full game. Now, this concerns me. I have not seen this or anything like this before just now. 1,000 warp stones. Is this an in-game currency? I do not know what this is. If it just unlocks, like, cool clothes for your people, fine. I really dislike in-game currency in games you have to pay for. Like, what's it called? Path of Exile? Totally free. You can go play it right now and have a really good time. But if you want your character to have some fancy black armor or a big old sword, graphics only, you then spend a little bit of money to support the makers, right? You spend a little money to get a bigger inventory. It's very difficult to play without this, but you can do so. I don't mind that even a little bit. But if you pay money for the game, and then are encouraged or invited to pay more money for the game, I go back and forth, right? I go back and forth. As long as it's not like unlocking core game mechanics, cool, fine, whatever. But I still dislike it. Yeah, I still dislike it. I've referenced warp stones on the page. Let's see. Let's see if it explains what warp stones are. So that's you get 1,000 of them. And that appears to be the only word on the page. So, yeah, I don't know. In Blood Bowl, fair play isn't exactly part of the culture. First come, first served. Okay, so I think they're leaning into the various characters in the game cheat. And so one way that you can cheat, player, is by spending all of your money. Yeah, we'll see. From what you've heard, it unlocks cosmetics only. Yeah, like I said, I have less problem with that, but I still dislike the mechanic in general. Now, I recognize this is just where things are today. It'd be like me saying, I dislike that the young people spend their whole lives on the cell phone. Yeah, I understand it needs to be a profitable business, blah, 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 but, you know. All right, we can see here, put on your cleats, buckle your helmet, adjust the shoulder pads and breastplate, and discreetly tuck a sharp dagger into your belt. Yeah, we'll have a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of fun by playing it, but I think I'm going to be a little bit down on the game for having real-world monetization after initial purchase. What if you can earn in-game money by playing it? I have less problem with that. I know that EVE Online, you're able to buy and sell things in the game to make enough money to pay for the subscription. I don't quite know how that works. I know, what other games like that? When Diablo 3 first came out, there was a real-world auction house where people could buy and sell items for actual cash money. Because the structure of that game's not multiplayer, I don't have a huge problem with that. Or the multiplayer element of it is not like combat all the time. It's instead teamwork. But I know they removed the real world money auction house, and that made my friend very, very sad because one of my friends who did not do well in graduate school decided that his career would be Diablo 3 player. Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to make money in this game, most likely. But if it's possible to start a betting league, I expect some of our viewers will be first in line to bet against me over and over and over again. You're guessing that you can win cosmetics for free in-game or unlock them by playing. Yeah, I know a lot of games gone that way. A lot of games have said, here, we released some big fancy new Halo or some big fancy new armor that looks really cool. And it can drop for you randomly, or instead you can spend money. Now, this goes in the direction of gacha game. As I mentioned before, gacha game is called that because it's the sound of a vending machine. When you put the quarter in and do the crank, it sounds like gotcha, gotcha, gotcha to Japanese people. And so that's kind of leads to like addictive behavior where you say, okay, if I spend another $100 or $10 or $5, maybe I'll win it this time. And I'm all for personal responsibility. I'm all for people knowing when they've spent too much money on the old gambling, but it really is gambling at the heart. And I take kind of seriously the various studies that have said this can build up addictive behaviors in young people especially. Now, not to say that video games are just for young people, blah, 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 but you know how I go on this. Okay. Yeah, Jim, you might be right. I think you might be right that there's more... there's more content unlocked that is cosmetic. You can grind for hours and hours and hours for a tiny chance of getting it. Exactly. I don't want to make any big assumptions here, big judgments. I'm just looking at the Steam page, and I do not mean to engage in defamatory speech, but we'll see what comes of it. And yeah, Blood Bowl 2 did not have this kind of monetization, and I tend to be about it. All right, while we're here, are there any other games you think I should check out that are coming pretty soon? Anything new to release that you're excited for? I'm not logged into my Steam account on this page, so I can't pull up the old selection queue and see what Steam thinks I should play. But what do you got? I'm happy to look up a few of them and see. Kerbal Space Program 2. Oh, man. Yeah, this is one of those games I'm definitely split on playing on stream. It's so adorable, it's so fun, but it does bring a certain crowd in. So, sequel to the acclaimed space flight simulation game Kerbal Space Program. Enter the next generation of space adventure with exciting new parts, stunning visuals, fully revamped UI and map view, and rich new environments to explore. Ooh, not actual gameplay. I appreciate they put that label there. I think some players should get quite confused about like, oh, look, it's beautiful. This is wonderful. And then suddenly you're building on a tiny little spaceport instead. Are Kerbal fans super toxic? It's not toxic. It's just there is a correct way to play the game. And they're all, what makes Kerbal so cool is that it models physics in really, really true-to-life ways. And so there is a most efficient way to do most things in the game. However, they're little cuties, right? They're little cuties here. And so it's very easy to imagine a player saying, no, I just want to try random stuff and see what's going to happen. I want to explode my little cuties and maybe we'll get to the moon someday. And so I think like the way in which I play games myself, where I just try to figure it out, tends to struggle with the kind of player who often likes playing these games and watching them streamed. And like I said before, I know they're just trying to help, but it's not a ton of fun for me usually. And I think that the standard response is just ban the backseaters and just don't worry about the backseating. Unfortunately, after a certain point, it's all of the chat. So, as many of you know, during game time, a lot of you play your games also, or go to sleep, or hang out, and so on. And so the new people who come in, it's a tremendous amount of just do this, put more fuel, you have too many wings, you need more stabilizers, and I just don't enjoy streaming that kind of game, unfortunately. So it's how it goes. It's how it goes. Doing it wrong is always more fun. I wish I had the video still of the time I tried to launch an airplane without having any airplane parts unlocked. I just put my little rocket, instead of straight up, straight to the side, and had a theory of physics that said if it goes fast enough, it will achieve lift. And this was absolutely false. It was absolutely false. It instead just ground along the ground, ripping itself apart. It was so much fun and absolutely delightful. And yeah, that was really cool. That was really, really cool. Do I have any thoughts on the Hogwarts game? I'm not really into Harry Potter for a variety of reasons. Just didn't hit that, so I don't feel a strong attraction to it. The kind of game it is not one I'm super interested in also. I also don't know enough about the world to have a strong feeling on like the question of supporting folks who have some pretty problematic political views. And I don't want to stream games where I'm guaranteed to have viewers come in and say, you are a bad person for playing this. If I was sitting one-on-one with a friend, I would love to have that conversation. But it is not one that's easy to do in a situation where people are anonymous. And I think in some cases not arguing in good faith. Instead of wanting to think together about questions, they're often interested in just saying, here's the black and white issue, you're on the wrong side of things. And I'm happy to say I may be on the wrong side of lots of issues, but I want to talk about it. I don't want to just be told you're a bad person. So that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Like I said, I think Rowling's claims on trans rights are really not terribly well developed. I wish she were a little more thoughtful on them, but as far as streaming that, it's just not for me. Independently of the question, it's not my kind of game for streaming. 100%. 100%. Yeah, and I'm not into Harry Potter because I'm a Hufflepuff. I don't want to be a Hufflepuff, and so I refuse the game forever. All right. Any more games to check out, or should we go ahead and play the game we planned to play today? Should we go play some Crusader Kings 3? Because we need to get a couple more 100 years into the game to get the end of an era achievement. Pacific Drive. Okay, Fernandez, when you recommend games, I often worry it's going to be like, here, learn how to be a coder. Here, learn how to, that's right, pass-if. Alright, so what is this? Survive the anomaly-filled Olympic exclusion zone with a car as your only lifeline. Okay, I'm enjoying this. Load up your trusty station wagon and drive like hell to make it through alive. This run-based drive survival adventure arrived in 2023. Okay, I'm immediately of two minds. On the one side, I love Project Zomboid so much. I love collecting and building and creating a way to survive in really awkward and terrible situations. However, because this game is a first-person perspective, I can almost guarantee it's going to have jump scares, and I can't deal with that on stream. Yeah, guaranteed if we played this game, I would spend the majority of it just hiding, and you would not enjoy watching that. You would not enjoy me like saying, "Oh, there's a bright and beautiful world out there," but not for us. So, yeah, it looks really cool. It looks really, really cool. If it were not a horror scenario, I would play it 100%. Absolutely. If it were more like Fallout, where the majority of the world is pretty bright and interesting, and then there are like subways that are scary, I'm cool with that also. But what I'm seeing here in this little video is that pretty much everything is quite dark and quite scary. However, there's a gas station called Big Dan's. That seems delightful. Did I play Alien Isolation once? Hey, I streamed Alien Isolation twice and got through, I think, the first 2 levels, and that was enough for me. I then later tried to play Alien Isolation off stream with the music off and the lights on full blast at noon or so, and I still only got through a little bit of the game. I just don't do well with jump scares and the feeling of tension that comes from them. So, looks like a cool game. Looks like a cool game. As of right now, I'm leaning towards no, but I love it. I love it. Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks really, really cool. Actually, I just now remembered when I streamed Alien Isolation, it was for a Halloween stream the first time. And this was back when I was a baby streamer and just trying to do anything so that people would watch the stream and follow and give me money. Like, I was definitely a bit of a sellout back then. And so the mods at the time said to me, Resorty, we will give you more money if you play this game with your headphones on. And I did, and that was horrible. It's a game where you can hear like the monster sneaking towards you, and the monster coming up quickly. And so I spent the majority of the stream with my headphones not here, but instead here. And then after a certain point, I put them down here. And I remember a lot of chatters like, "No, we're paying you money to have them on your head." But I just can't do it. I just can't do it at all, for sure. Hey, Lauren, you're not sure about the game. This game may have scary parts, but no jump scares. Oh, no jump scare mod or mode. Yeah. What game is that? There is a philosophical horror game, the major theme of which is identity. It's not BioShock. I'm sure one of you knows the game I'm talking about. We did play it. It's first person. You walk around and like have a space suit, maybe. I don't know. Whatever it was a game that I was told repeatedly that though it was scary, the philosophy was worth it. Soma. Thank you. It was Soma. And so I played it and really enjoyed it, because it does raise some very, very cool questions about identity, and we talked about philosophy and what it means to be a person, etc., etc., and it was a great stream, but it was full of jump scares, and I hated it. But I played it through because it was worth the story, and yeah, the ending was absolutely amazing, and I was absolutely blown away. And then, 4 days after we played it, the developers came out with a no monsters mode. And I was so unbelievably dismayed that I had gone through the entire game stealing myself, when had I waited a week longer, we would have been able to play it and enjoy the story with no monsters at all. So I'll be so curious to see if Pacific Drive has something like that. Because, yeah, like I said, I really, really, really like this kind of game where you can survive by finding stuff. It's just a cool, cool concept. It sounds like a stream you'd like to watch other VODs. Yeah, unfortunately, Lauren, no. I only started taking VODs of my streams in, was it October of last year? If you do exclamation point VODs, I think, or it's either VOD or VODs, not sure which one, it'll take you to a YouTube channel where I upload all of my streams. But it only started, yeah, in October of last year. So there are 6.5 years of streams that are lost forever. And maybe someday we'll learn how to recover data from the ether, but for right now, no. Have I played the game Road 96? No. We're gonna do this last game, and then I definitely gotta get some CK3. Okay. I definitely see how this game, well, maybe not. I would say it might seem similar to the last one. Hitchhike your way to freedom in this crazy procedurally generated road trip. No one's road is the same. Very, very positive results. Wow. Klaus, thanks for the mention. This seems like a cool game. So you're hitchhiking along, and various interesting characters. In this procedurally generated, I wonder if you run into different characters each time through. I also have no idea where this is. It seems like it's everywhere, man. Initially, I was thinking it was just in the desert area, but... Huh. And you could play games? Wait, that person has a trombone. Why does that person have a trombone? Okay, it's not terribly expensive. But as it's very well reviewed, one of the best indie games of the whole year. Cool. Lots of political, philosophical type of storylines. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, definitely a game I will check out off stream, and I will, I'll see. There are thousands of roads across the authoritarian nation of Petria. Which one will you take? Huh, cool. Cool. As I said before, there are far too many games out there to play. I'll never be able to do them all. How about the game Pharaoh, A New Era? I think I saw Cringer or Shen playing that earlier, but didn't see what it was. Pharaoh, A New Era. The legendary city builder returns. Oh gosh, someone's streaming this. Hey, that's Wojess. Yeah, we know that person. Hello, Wojess. Get off my stream. Legendary City Builder returns. Lead the creation of one of the greatest civilizations the world has ever seen in this 4K remake with modernized UI. Build monuments, manage your population through hundreds of hours of gameplay, and explore 4,000 years of history through more than 50 missions. So I'm not exactly someone who's into pure city builders. They often get to feeling a little repetitive for me. Now, if the setting is cool, and this one may be, it might be worth playing. Lauren, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was exactly thinking that this game reminds me of Caesar 3, which is a game I did play well before streaming and really, really enjoyed. Also, seeing this reminds me of one of my favorite facts about history, which I've said on stream before and always blows my mind. Cleopatra, the last of the queens of Egypt, lived closer to the moon landing than she did to the construction of the pyramids. I think because the way, at least in the US, history is taught, we tend to think of like ancient Egypt as being one period way, way, way back. But like the game says, it's 4,000 years of time. And so Cleopatra lives closer to the 1960s than she does to the construction of the pyramids. It's absolutely crazy. And this reminds me of just how little I actually know about history. It's amazing. Yeah, this kind of building does remind me very much of the old Caesar games. Huh. Cool. It's on sale now. It's just come released. Neat. Probably not one we'll play, because there are so many city builders right now. And I've been saying that I'll be playing Anno as the next big city builder. And I do intend to play it, and I do not know when that will be. Maybe next week, but I also want to play Auction Not Included. And I do not know how I'll play all the games. May I'll have to quit my job and stop hanging out with my wife and just stand here all the time. Hello, Noms. I only said that because I knew you were in the room.
You're not playing any games. You're just watching a little video.
Yeah,
of ancient Egypt.
We started today's stream by talking about some games that we could indeed play in the near future, and people recommended other games we could check out. And yeah, so I swear I'm gonna be playing a video game very, very soon.
Oh, you haven't played anything yet?
I have played nothing today.
Why do people even?
Why do people even come?
Are you advertising as playing a game right now?
I am advertising playing this game. I'm not just chatting. I'm a bad person for sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Today's a reading stream. It's true. Go away, Wojess. No. And like I said, I have a psychiatrist appointment at 10:30 in 45 minutes.
That's right.
So we could just keep looking at games for 45 minutes, but I do very much want to play my CK3 for sure.
Nice.
For sure. So you offered a job to someone today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and are you quite tired?
Tired.
Yeah, Nam's yawning over here. Yeah, we were talking about like that's one of the
I've
more
worked for an hour now. I think that's enough.
that's enough work, time to take a nap. Talk about how one of the most exciting things that you get to do is pluck out someone and say, here's a job for you. How was the conversation?
It was good.
It was good. Cool.
It was good.
Cool.
It was good when we. I think the hard part is I want to just get right to the cut to the chase and just be like, look, I have a job for you. This is what it pays. Da 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 da.
Yep.
Except then I have realized that I need to tell people like why they were selected and like what we appreciate about them and why we like them and all of these things that like do not. I just want to be like, okay, we like you. That should be enough.
You were gonna say that do not matter.
I don't say.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I mean, we talked before.
I just need to hire someone who's just like me.
Possibly. I mean, if you want, I can offer people jobs. I can say, hey, buddy, you're really good at teaching, or blah, 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 whatever. We like your research.
That's okay. I just need to remember to do that. So
Yeah.
I've been better at remembering.
Good job. I want to say that's because of our fine relationship. That I am desperate for words of affirmation. Tell me nice things about myself. I just want to be a nice person. And maybe other people need that kind of advice also.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Cool. I'm glad that went well. That said, you did say that. You did say that
It ran long,
you
which
like
is good.
jumping into the conclusion, jumping to the we want to hire you, etc. You will recall that when you were offered this current job you're in, you had a one-on-one meeting with the president where he was going to offer you the job, and instead of jumping to the chase, you all spent 15 minutes talking about the weather and road patterns in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
You do not jump to the chase. You have to have your Midwestern chit-chat time first.
No. The person who has the money is the one who's controlling that conversation.
I see. So because you're offering the job, you're uninterested in talking about the weather with this guy.
We talked about the weather a little bit.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. Master Gremlin hates when people say nice things about him. Would you make a hire there?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hires for everyone. Noms has
Yeah.
infinite jobs for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that said, the individual to whom I was offering the job seemed a little bit uncomfortable about, like, because what do you say when someone's like, oh, we really like this, and we like this about you, and we were like this, like, thank you? Like,
Wait.
what are you supposed to say?
Wait. So you said that you felt like you had to say nice things, but they didn't seem to want it. So why did you feel like you had to say them?
Well, I had already launched into it because that's part of the spiel.
Okay, I thought it was the case that the person said, "Oh, tell me why I'm good.
No,
tell me I'm special."
It's just a nice thing to do.
I see. Okay.
And it's also an opportunity to talk about, like, why they're being.
Yeah, so if you really emphasize, you did a great job teaching the first-year students, that is then saying you're teaching first-year students, or whatever.
And we expect you to continue.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes absolute sense.
Like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
What does the new hire teach? Computer science, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, computer science. So
Well, not hired yet.
not hired yet, right? In the process of negotiating and thinking all the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
You do sound pretty tired. It's all right.
I think it's interacting with.
Yeah, interacting with
mean,
strangers.
yeah.
I don't know what it's like to interact with strangers all day, every day.
Yeah.
No, I interact with the wall. That's a lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard there's a big snowstorm coming into the Dakotas.
Oh, really?
then The rest of them.
Yeah, like I said
Yeah.
before, I do not miss that even a little bit. I am delighted to be away from the big snows because driving the big snows was terrible.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Great. And I feel like it's gotten worse. Like I heard it was in the like.
Negative 30s. Wow.
Not
wow.
recently, but like in December and then.
Yeah.
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 But then like also like strangely warm for February. And,
Yep. Here's been just kind of neutral. There's a little snow, some warmer days. I think less extreme swings probably.
Yeah.
Closer to some baseline normalization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because. Let's see.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about weather. You're gonna offer me a job next. May I teach for you, please? I have good student evaluations.
someone needs to make this recommendation to me, and I approve it or I don't
Oh,
approve it.
okay. So you don't entirely say top down, you will hire this person.
That's right.
Instead, it's a process of conversation with your faculty.
Yes, yes.
You're a good administrator. There's another question. Am I at a standing desk? Indeed I am. Indeed I am. And yeah, little noms is indeed little. Yeah, good old little noms. Time for a nap. When's your next meeting? In 12 minutes? Oh, you were going to go in for this meeting, weren't you?
I am going to go in. I am not an essential member of that meeting, so I'm just going
to... Okay. 12 minutes to go. Yeah. How many naps are allowed in one's job? I mean, I do work for her, and I take a nap most days. Even though I said recently on stream it was time for no more naps. I have trouble getting through the day with no naps, unfortunately. Yeah. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, you do seem a little stretched. Yeah.
A little tired.
Yeah, it's all good though.
I think I'm just a little sleepy. I think maybe I just didn't have any.
All right, more caffeine. It's good seeing you, Noms.
Bye.
Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. I mean, I'm still here, but goodbye.
Do you notice I have my earpods?
I noticed you have your AirPods the entire time. I think you're speaking quieter than usual because you have your earpods in and you can't hear yourself talk.
No, I think it's because
If you're tired, that's fine too. All right.
cold.
Tired and
I
cold.
am cold. I'm going to wear the big... I'm cold.
Excellent. All right, Noms, have a good day. We'll see you later. Hello, friends. It's just me and you now. We got about 45 minutes, so I need to go away for a little bit. So let's now change over to playing a little video game. Continuing our Crusader Kings 3 playthrough. And let me say really and truly and sincerely, I appreciate you hanging out. We had our introductory just chatting session for more than an hour. Terribly sorry. It's time for video games. Look, friend, it's our little friends. It's our very young wife, our very old king, and our, I believe, somewhat middle-aged son. We'll be back after my meeting. Yes. Yeah. So I'll be taking a very brief break from stream in about 35 minutes or so. And then I'll have my conversation with my psychiatrist. I'm guessing it will not take long, and then I'll come right back and do the normal rest of the stream. I know many of you will go to bed and find other streams, that's fine, but it won't be terribly long. Okay, let's push the continue button and see where things stand. Yesterday was a day of tremendous expansion as well as tremendous centralization. We did a very, very good job of keeping the kingdom, the empire together between rulers. And at the end of yesterday's stream, we gobbled up the entirety of the Eastern Frankish Kingdom, as well as the great majority of Scotland and so much else. Unfortunately, we have this problem right here, because in taking over the kingdom level title, we were not able to siege all of the duchies, or seize all the duchies, because when you use a conquest war, it does not unseat people not of your faith. If you use a holy war, it does. I didn't use a holy war here because I'm afraid of the folks in the west here getting involved against us. Now, with that said, there actually is a holy war happening right now between Qamran and Aquitaine and all the rest. I believe the Spaniards are the Moors are intending to move north this direction. But not going to be able to for this region right here. So you'll see the King of Aquitaine is currently losing this war. And when I first saw that, I thought to myself, oh, it's probably the case that there are similar numbers on each side. Maybe the Iberian troops have a few extra soldiers. Look at this, friends. Look at this. On this side, 7,000 troops. On this side, does that say 44,000? No, it says 449,000 soldiers. So the papal army has shown up with nearly 500,000 troops. This is why I'm unwilling to holy war against the Catholics right now, because it looks like they like each other, and it looks like they will all show up in defense of each other. So if we're going to holy war, it needs to be out east. It needs to be somewhere where there are different religions hanging out, or perhaps in the Middle East, where the Islamic forces are not exactly on friendly terms. So yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to do in Europe from this point forward, because that is horrifying of a number of troops. Okay. Like I said, the big issue is that we do have a slight issue among the big vassals here. And so we put up the Liberty faction. Liberty faction is tiny, no problems. It's the Astrolanese Catholic populace. And so we have some problems. The first portion of it is that the troops we've seized here, the peasants we've brought into our realm, are all kind of unhappy with us. As well as the people who are in the middle of Germany, in Fürstenberg and Ulm and everywhere else. As well as the big dukes here. And I've tried very hard to make these big dukes like us, by asking them to convert to our faith, by sending them money, by trying to marry their children to our children. It's just not going to happen, though, because they're Catholic. Now, because they're Catholic, I am allowed to seize their titles. If we seize their titles, though, I believe on all of them, we are likely to fail. And when we fail, everyone else will rise up against us. So I've been holding off on trying to imprison any. We might give it a shot in a moment, but I'm not certain we can get that done. Now, with that said, one of the things that's adding to unhappiness, or adding to troubles here, is we don't have our maximum military size. This because, if we go to this page here, we have 78 vassals when we should have only 74. So we're over by 4 vassals right now. In the recent war here, we jumped from being, I think, at like 56 vassals to 130 or 140. And we've done a lot of work to fix the vassal problems. But as of right now, there aren't too many more things we can do unless we want to spin out a kingdom. And I'm greedy, and so I don't want to do that. When I say I'm greedy, I do not mean the character is greedy. He's humble and calm and a zealot for his faith. I am personally greedy and do not want to give up the kingdoms. So the other thing to do then is to create more jarldoms. And we've created a tremendous number of them. You will see, though, there are 3 counties here that can be turned into a single duchy, I believe. Yeah. Actually, yeah. So Holstein is these 3. And so if we create the Duchy of Holstein, we can then go ahead and combine those. Could I put some vassals under other vassals? Not rightfully. So we do have some spare counts, like this fellow over in Holland. We could give him to the Duke of Hesse over here. But I very much want to keep everyone in the correct duchy as much as possible, to avoid the occasional ducal spatter that happens, where the Duke of Constantinople controls part of Scotland. It's very, very ugly, and I hate that. So, if we create Holstein, which is made up of 3 counties, we'll then have 1 vassal and give up 2 vassals. So we'll then be only 2 over our current size. That is still oversized, but it's better. To do that, we have to usurp that title, which takes 250 money. We'll be there in a month and a half or so. We have 5 months till this faction launches. The one silver bullet that we have is this down here. The Duchy of Swabia is ginormous. Look at all those counties. And we hold all of them inside of our kingdom. The issue, though, is the Duke of Swabia has only 1 ducal level title. So it is his primary title, even though he holds no land in it. So we should be able to usurp it. But as you see there, you cannot usurp the primary title of someone fighting a war. And he's part of that holy war, part of that gigantic death stack heading over to Iberia right now. So the big solution is actually no solution at all. So the question then is, are there any other titles we can usurp or create that would help us? So Holland here is 3 counties as well, and it is usurpable right now. If we create the Duchy of Holland and the Duchy of Holstein and give them out correctly, we'll be exactly at vassal cap. So that is the goal, to get to 500 money so that we're able to create those duchies and give them away. This will give us more troops. It might be enough troops to stop the revolt against us. If it's not, though, we'll be ready to do it as soon as possible. And then those people will be thrown in prison, and that will be good. So there are 2 ways we can get to 500 money. Way number 1 is we actually are able to sell trivial titles. Selling titles of purely symbolic importance to people of more means than pedigree bolsters the treasury. I have never done this. Selling titles yields unpredictable results. Now, if the titles are things like, you're the chief marshal of my cat, fine. If we give away a title, though, that actually causes stress or causes a disruption of the kingdom, I'm not sure what will happen. So I'm considering just doing this one to learn what happens when you sell the trivial titles. The other possibility is we could just sit back and save as much money as possible and hope that we get to the 500 money before the faction launches. And I think my answer is actually, why not both? Why don't we go ahead and create the titles right away and then save up as much money as possible in hopes to have money for hiring mercenaries if necessary to fight. It's more selling major and barony titles. All right, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes indeed. Before I do that, though, because I got more things to do. Before I do that, though, I actually want to see how imprisonable we can make any of our large vassals. Because if it's possible to guaranteed imprison any of them, that would be a huge way of undermining the faction. Because they can't be in a faction while in prison, I'm fairly sure. So, I actually don't remember what the relevant stat is for imprisonment. It may just be intrigue. Let's see. So, down here we have the Duke Balder. Duke Balder's against us. What an awful, awful human being he is. So if we attempt to imprison him, it's 46%. And what goes to that is intrigue. Intrigue's a huge portion of it. Also, rank difference. So part of the points against us is there's not enough difference between Emperor and Duke. And if he likes us more, he's more likely to be imprisoned. All right, wish I had a hook, definitely don't. So let me go ahead and move both the wife and the spy master over to supporting schemes. And we'll see how close we can get to what we're trying to do. Our spy master's no good. Unfortunately, he forced himself onto the council, and now we're just stuck with that. There are a few characters we recently picked up in a big war that have contracts where they're allowed to put themselves on the council for free. We need to undermine these at some point in the playthrough. Not right now, but at some point. Okay, so everyone is now focused on the imprisonment, and Duke Baldar, 52%. Did I already send you cash money? There's no gift there. So if we give him money, he will like us more. If he likes us more, he's more likely to not revolt. That said, if he refuses to be imprisoned, he will rise up in rebellion with everyone else, and that will start the rebel war we'll have to deal with. That's not a lot of fun. I mean, we'll be fine. We're probably going to win the war regardless. We just need to keep it in mind. Okay, let's start working on things here. So, thing number one. We're going to sell some minor titles. Like I said, never did it before. We'll see what goes. Does sending an item give less influence than money? You can actually do both. Sending an artifact, though, has often been a very, very small increase to relationship. Now, I don't know if you send him a better item, if he's more likely to play it cool and to be happy. Like, this hide I'm not using. So he will accept it, though it's useless for him because he doesn't have a court. Now, I actually do not know how characters' attitudes change based on the quality of the item. Because it's a very, very fancy item, but it's useless to him. So do those offset. No clue. On the other hand, this ring, which I intend to keep, he could definitely use. And it's very attractive also. We do have a purple saint's head that we cannot use. But again, so it's useless to him because he doesn't have a royal court. So we give him one of these little figurines. He'd love to have it. But would it make him happier? This brooch he'd love to have. I'm never going to use this. This is an item I'll never, ever, ever use. And so I think giving him that would make sense. Unless I have a blue tier item that he could use. I think the answer is no on that. So let's go ahead and see how much attitude change he gets for getting an item that he can use, which is of masterwork quality. He's currently at negative 66. We give it to him, he goes to negative 48. Actually a pretty big improvement. So yeah, I do think there's a difference in what kind of attitude change there is based on what kind of item it is. So that's cool. It's definitely good to know. Next up, cash money, but we're going to sell our titles now. You got to unpause for that. Oh, they don't stack? Wait, does cash money, or do cash money and artifacts not stack? I thought they did. I'm happy to say I'm wrong on that. I know that giving more money, definitely, giving money after money doesn't stack, it replaces. But the opinion there says received artifact. I believe that money is received gift. So we'll see. All right. The Mirror of Amalfi says, I'm honored by the titles you've offered me, and of course I subsidize them as is right and proper. I cannot thank you enough for this honor. Whatever you demand, I'll do my utmost for you. 300 money and a hook. Ooh. Okay, so the indebted hook you can sell if you have that stewardship perk, which we do not have. We now have a tremendous amount of money, though. So we got the 500 plus 300 more, I believe. Amazing. So now we can send cash money to this vassal here. And yeah, it doesn't say that it replaces the old one, because again, received gift is different than received artifact. It's not a huge improvement, but better than nothing. And so now we see both received artifact and received gift both. Is it worth creating duchies? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do that in a second. I'm just dealing with this guy first. We have the short range items equipped still. We still have -5 penalty. That penalty is because he just became our vassal. We have been on the throne a very long time, but he's been inherited, we'll call it, from the Emperor of East Francia fairly recently. We could throw him on the council. There's no guarantee that he would then... there's no guarantee then that he'd be happy enough to leave his faction, but it is possible. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go and create the 2 duchies that fix all of our problems now. One is Holstein. It's mine. I give it to whoever holds the county of Lübeck. This lovely 17-year-old has somehow stumbled her way into being a duke. Congratulations. Awesome. And then we do the same thing with Holland as well. Steal that one as well. Great. And then we gift that to the person who holds Holland. And that will suddenly fix our vassal cap problem. I believe. Yes, it went away. Great. And so in the past moment, I believe we've gone from 66,000 soldiers to 71,000. If we unpause for just a second, we can now see how large they are. And the answer is absolutely hugely ginormous still. So, unfortunate. The other unfortunate thing I just noticed is actually the guy we're trying to make nice is not in this faction. He's actually in this faction up here, the Dissolution faction. And that destroys the Empire. So it is more important we stop this one. But as the other people have not joined him, it's actually not a huge issue to ignore him entirely. So, does this change things? Hello, guy. So I have not sent him gifts at all recently. We killed someone in his family, whoops. But here, have some cash money. And here have an artifact as well. Again, a duke, so we cannot use any items in the council, but this item moves him all the way to -2. All right, so at -2, he has 12 in intrigue. If I try to imprison you, it's tyrannical. Okay, no, I can take his title. I can't imprison him. So we have an 83% chance of pulling this off. And this is based on intrigue, correct? It's not. It's actually not. It's based on opinion. So if I move the queen over to diplomacy, oh, she's real bad at that. She's real bad at that. It's still -1, unfortunately, so never mind. All right. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Do we take his title without launching a war? 83% chance of succeeding. We unpause, and we see. Hey, the dissolution factor went away. So we made this duke happy enough that he no longer wants to completely destroy the empire. That is awesome. And then, son of a gun, 83% chance of succeeding. Instead, we got the 17% chance of the other one. That is unfortunate. All right, we do not have time right now to fight a whole war, because I've got a meeting to go to in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the game right here. I'm going to end the stream, but I'll be back at, I don't know, half an hour from now, maybe 45 minutes, and then we'll fight this war, and it will be big, big, big fun. For now, though, thank you for hanging out. I'm going to go to a doctor. We'll definitely win this one. Don't you worry. See you in a little bit. Goodbye, friends.